Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with different completely. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. Yes, it is I, your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live from my bunkerized home studio somewhere within the great granite state of New Hampshire. Yes, the state where the motto is so strong, so powerful, so beloved that we put it on our license plate. And it states, live free or die, does not state big government or bust. It is Thursday, December the 6th in the year of our Lord 2012. Yesterday we had a little bit of a problem about an hour and a half into the show. We had some winds here last night, and it's not like it was strong, but it was enough apparently to cause the power not to go out, but to flicker long enough where, you know, the computer had to shut down, or did shut down. And I lost connection, and unfortunately with Spreaker, unlike Blog Talk Radio, the show doesn't keep going. And you can't reconnect. And I found that out last night. I didn't know that was that something like that would happen. So I am putting in place, and next week there will be a backup system. So I will keep going. And even if Spreaker is unable to record it, I'll still keep going with the show. And then if Spreaker does not catch it and record it, I'll be able to upload the episode, and you'll be able to get it later. I didn't really know that if something like that, I just assumed that if something like that interrupted the show, I'd be able to jump right back in there, just like Blog Talk and a couple of other places that I have broadcast in the past, but not the case after all with Spreaker, which is not a big deal. It's not an issue. It's probably better because then there's no dead space. There's not going to be any dead air. Unlike with Blog Talk, you know, there was dead air. So even if you did come back, even if it took you 5 minutes, there was going to be 5 minutes of dead air, and nobody wants to sit through that. You wouldn't be, and you couldn't. Edit out the bad air, the dead air. So it's not a bad thing to have a backup. So it'll be on a laptop. So that way it'll record the show, and if Spreaker records it and puts it up, then of course it'll it just gets deleted. But if Spreaker, for whatever happens, it gets interrupted, there'll be, because it's a laptop, there'll be uninterrupted power supply, so the show will continue as normal, and the laptop will be able to update it or upload as a podcast to Spreaker, because we can do that, which is good. But I didn't know. If I would have known something like that beforehand, I would have already have been prepared. But as I said, I assumed that it was pretty much like the others, but it's a good thing that it's not. So I'm not complaining about it. I just wasn't aware of it ahead of time, which is fine. So now we know what the issue is. Look, it's good to learn something new, but I know people that would have complained. Well, there's a silver lining in that. One, now I know what really happens, and two, it'll allow me to figure out a backup system, which I probably should have anyway. Because I don't know. Don't most systems have backup systems? Well, I know it wouldn't have mattered if the main computer that I use to broadcast the show nightly was on a backup system. It wouldn't have mattered because there was still the flicker. Not to mention the modem would have went out. And I don't. It's an uninterrupted supply, so I guess it goes directly from outside power to battery backup power without interruption. Although I've never personally had such a backup system in my home. But it's just like having a laptop. You pull the plug from your laptop, and the battery, obviously, if it's charged, immediately, instantaneously, there's no power interruption, so it's an immediate backup. So you keep working on your laptop. But unless I had two systems, or one large system, and had the modem also hooked up to it, it wouldn't have mattered. I still would have lost contact and connection with Spreaker because the modem would have went down. But then, and the modem would have, because the modem obviously had to reboot. Whenever you interrupt the power, it's got to reboot. So, that's the way that is. The only other way is to just get rid of Comcast Xfinity altogether, and use a wireless solution. Like Sprint or AT&T or Verizon or something like that. But that gets a little bit expensive, and it's not as fast as a hardwired system. So, but we learn a little bit every day, which is a good thing. And we learned a little bit here, and that's also a good thing. And, there's... I don't usually start off the show with this, but there's a story that is trending right now, and if you are a person who likes movies or TV shows, whatever, this is from DealBook. SEC weighs suit against Netflix over improper disclosure. Netflix has stirred up the ire of its customers with controversial business decisions before, but a seemingly innocuous post by the online video company's chief executive on his Facebook page may have gotten him in hot water with regulators. Netflix disclosed on Thursday that the Securities and Exchange Commission has sent both it and its chief, Reed Hastings, so-called Wells notices, indicating that the agency may file civil lawsuits against them. The Wells notices, according to the company, are tied to information that Mr. Hastings disclosed in a Facebook post on July 3rd about the 1 billion hours of video that subscribers watched through the service the previous month. Now, shares in Netflix were down 1.3% in after-hours trading on Thursday at $85.02. Now, what was behind the SEC's move, according to a new Facebook post by Mr. Hastings, was a concern that the post violated the agency's fair disclosure rules. According to securities rules, information that could be material to a company's business should be made available to all investors, usually through a news release or a regulatory filing. The rule is meant to prevent selective disclosures of important information. That's important information. Hey, guess what? We've reached 1 billion hours of Netflix viewing last month. And you're telling me he's got to issue a press release, which nobody reads. Or he's got to have a regulatory filing. How does a regulatory filing gonna fit for? Yeah, I can see it now. Well, we got to fill out all this. That costs money. That's ridiculous. That's going to bring down, press releases and things, because you got to hire agencies, PR agencies in order to release this stuff. They're not cheap. And you know what? There are probably more people, including investors in Netflix, who have Facebook pages and who are on Facebook. And there are probably more Netflix investors that will have seen that message on Facebook than anywhere else. I mean, this is ridiculous. Now, but Mr. Hastings argues that he has a few defenses. One is that he disclosed the information fairly broadly. His Facebook feed is publicly viewable and has more than 200,000 subscribers. Moreover, the specific post was shared by some of those followers, and the information was subsequently reported by several media outlets. Another defense is that Netflix simply didn't view the information as material. In Thursday's post, Mr. Hastings wrote that several weeks before the Facebook message in question, the company had announced on its corporate blog that it was serving nearly 1 billion hours of video a month. And while Netflix stock rose on July 3rd, it was already getting a rise from a positive analyst note published the night before. And we remain optimistic this can be cleared up quickly through the SEC's review process. Now we're going to be told, that companies can't use Facebook, I guess, for telling people that, we had a billion hours viewed last month. That's a significant thing that needs to be handled via government, folks. Government. These people, there is no accountability with these regulators. None. And I bring this up because you got to have accountability. If you don't have accountability, you'll be able to do anything to anyone at any time, and nobody's going to be able to stop you. And this is what all these regulators are. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some way, somehow, somewhere, some possible regulation is being broken by me. I wouldn't know. And they could come and say, well, yeah, you broke this, section 42-3C, paragraph 59 of code 35,763. I wouldn't know. And they could even be bluffing me, and I still wouldn't know. They could make it up, and I'd say, oh, well, okay, well, what do I got to do to fix it? I mean, this is, and there would be, I could spend money, hiring a lawyer and fighting it, but guess who's got more money than anybody else? The government. And the weird thing about, well, not weird, but the funny thing about it is that if I hired a lawyer, I'd have to use my own money, but at the same time, I'm a taxpayer, so basically, I'm also paying for the government to attack me. I'm paying to defend myself from a government that I'm paying to attack me. That's really the way it is. And this is why you got to have some sort of control system, and we don't have any. We don't have any kind of control system on these people. I mean, it's funny. Well, it's not really all that funny. But it is very ludicrous. I mean, it's to the point now where people, they give up before they even try. Think about it. People give up before they even have to pay for all this stuff. So, you got to, well, you really can't blame them for wanting to, not be a part of this kind of stuff. You can't blame people for not wanting to